Welcome back. Today, here in the Mini Cooper, no, wait a minute, that's not right. Today, we're going to discuss haters gonna hate. How do you deal with criticism from people who look at your project car or look at the car that you took to a show or watch your YouTube channel? Well, just how do we deal with criticism? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it Tuesday. I'm Mike. This is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
So right now, Dad is in Florida, and we are taking a break from the Oakland project until he gets back. I thought it would be great to do some of these Talk About It episodes, and I didn't come up with the Talk About It Tuesday name until this episode, so hopefully we'll continue that forward as we have these. But anyway, haters gonna hate, right? How do we deal with criticism? Let's face it, whether you do a YouTube channel or you build a car or you have a car that you've purchased or whatever, if you have a car that is designed to draw attention, you're gonna get haters. Everybody's a critic, especially today in the day of the keyboard warrior. People sit behind their keyboards where they don't have the risk of getting a punch in the mouth for saying what they say, and they just shoot their keys off and give you their exact opinion. Now, attitude about that is everything, right? I mean, we can get ourselves all upset because somebody doesn't agree with the way we see things or the way we think things should be done or whatever, or we can learn from it. It's up to us because attitude is 80% of life. But how do we deal with it? So the first thing that came to my mind was a story from a cruise-in that we would have every week. Every Wednesday night at the local Hardee's, which was out of business, but we would meet there. There was anywhere from 10 to 25 of us that would bring our classic cars up there and just sit in the parking lot and shoot the bull, and people would stop in and look and stuff like that. So at the time, I had my 31 Model A Ford. Was a restored car, wasn't a hot rod, nothing special, but I had that car, and it was there. And a guy comes and he starts going over the car and he starts nitpicking everything about the car. I mean, the car was gorgeous, and if I remember, I'll insert a picture of it here. It wasn't perfect. I painted it in a house garage. I did all the work myself on that car. That was 30 years ago, not quite, probably 20, 25 years ago. So my skill sets at that point were good, but probably not as good as they are now. At least I don't know. I painted it on the cheap. It was a $100 paint job. I used just basic acrylic enamel or whatever the stuff was back in the day, and put hardener in it so that I could sand it and wheel it. It was a single stage enamel paint job, is my point, with hardener in it. It wasn't factory hardened paint, so understand that my background, I came from the days I learned how to paint with lacquer. So anyway, and I did that car on the cheap, but it was gorgeous. It was flat, it was black, but there were some blemishes and flaws in the paint because it was painted in the house garage. Well, this guy comes and he starts nitpicking, and why'd you do this, and why'd you do that, and why didn't you fix this, and why didn't you do that? And I found myself getting a little annoyed. Those of you that know me wouldn't totally be surprised by that, but my mind started working on, how am I going to shut this clown down? So I just listened to what he had to say, and first of all chose to hear what he had to say to see if there were things I could do to improve the car. The second thing I decided to do was shut him down. So I said, I've not seen you here before. Which one of these cars is yours? Oh, I don't have a car here. Oh, okay. Well, what do you have? I'd love to see your car. Sounds like you really know what you're doing. Well, I don't have a car. Huh. So what kind of cars have you had in the past? Well, I've never really had a car. Okay. And I just shrugged my shoulders, laughed, and walked away. In the earlier days of the My Car Shop channel, I would also get a lot of flaming about what I was doing. And one of the common things I would hear was, well, what are you trying to prove by fabricating a frame rail? Just buy the parts. Well, I wasn't trying to prove anything to anybody except myself. I like the self-imposed challenge. And part of me would find myself being a little bit irritated about that, and unfortunately I would sometimes give rebuttal on the channel, and I kind of wished I hadn't done that, but I was trying to clarify what the channel was all about. But there are other criticisms that come. You should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you shouldn't do it that way. I've had to choose to take that and look at it and say, is there something I can learn from what this individual is telling me? Sometimes you learn that that particular person just doesn't have, they have too much time on their hands and too much keyboard at their fingers. But a lot of times there's legitimate observation if you can get over the insecurity and the feelings of being criticized. When you put yourself out there, everybody has an opinion. I know that Duddy over at Duddy's Adventures and I have talked about that. Everybody has a way that they want to see things done or what they think should be done. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, freedom of expression and communication is good. How we deal with it matters. I've learned not to engage the conflict, but to diffuse it. I've learned, especially online, especially on my YouTube channel, that when somebody criticizes, I thank them for their input. But more than it just being words, I truly try to adopt that, being thankful that they pointed something out that maybe I didn't see, or they cared enough for whatever reason to point something out that they think I didn't see or they think I hadn't thought of. And I think that attitude is everything. I mean, the reality is we all have different experiences. We all have different perspectives. We all have different ideas about the way things should be done. And that's kind of what makes the world go round. As somebody once said, if we were all the same, most of us would be unnecessary. There would be no variety in the world. And I think there's plenty of room for everybody, and there's plenty of room for everybody's opinion. There's plenty of room for everybody's critique. It's more about how we handle things than changing the world to be the way we want. So I've been fortunate that I think we've progressed enough on the channel with the projects that most of the viewers at this point, at least at the foundational level, kind of get what my car shop is all about. And a lot of that criticism is falling away. I've always encouraged people, say, hey, stick around. At least, if nothing else, get a good laugh about what I'm doing. I can be a great example of what not to do, and that's okay. In diversity, in looking at somebody doing something differently than the way we would do it, there's always something that we can learn that can inspire us. I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck on something or mentally trying to come up with a solution, and I watch somebody else's stuff on YouTube and I go, oh, that's not the way I'm going to do it, but that definitely inspires me, and now I have a way that I can do it. I think the last thing that comes to mind in dealing with criticism is just be genuine, but be kind. There's enough meanness in the world, and we certainly don't need meanness and infighting and inbreeding and all of the garbage, the hating. Haters going to hate, right? But we don't need to return hate with hate. But by the same token, people can smell a fake a mile off. So I think in dealing with criticism, especially for my fellow YouTubers, deciding ahead of time how we're going to handle something, deciding ahead of time how we're going to handle things when somebody pushes that button and the blood pressure goes up and we're just really cheesed about what somebody said. My rule of thumb is if somebody's really criticizing and they happen to hit that button, I just try to wait. I don't give a knee-jerk reaction. I try to just simply, okay, they're free to have their opinion. That has no reflection on me. And then choose very carefully how I'm going to respond to the criticism. Because I think more than anything, when it comes to our cars, when it comes to this hobby, when it comes to, like I said, when you put yourself out there and you take a car to a car show, or even if you're just driving, your car to Walmart or wherever, you're gonna get both compliments and criticism. I drive scoops a lot when the weather's nice, and I get tons of compliments. But every once in a while, I'll get some critic. I had taken the car to a place where I get my small engines fixed to check in on something that I had dropped off, and the guy immediately started nitpicking the car, and I was just like, "You asshat!" And I just had to take myself by the throat emotionally and said, "Stop." His opinion. It's a driver. It's not a show car. Yeah, there's a lot of things the car needs. But to the average person on the street, I get, for every one piece of criticism I've gotten, I get 1,000 compliments. So take that for what it's worth. This is my Talk About It Tuesday. Kind of rambling a little bit maybe, but I wanted to share these thoughts with you and help you deal with things. Because at the end of the day, the world is improved not by other people changing, but by us changing how we relate to the world. So there you go. All right, that'll do it. We're over on the Face thing. We're on Instagram/My Car Shop. Of course, we're here on the You thing, so subscribe, hit that bell, make some comments down there, all of that stuff. And one more thing.
Rock!